get my 6. It's not even 7 a.m. yet. I've been up for about an hour having my second cup of coffee. I'm going to go out here and remove the beehive entrance regulator or minimizer because, well, it should have been gone by now. They need a larger opening. I'm doing something here I haven't done in a super long time. Making a super early morning video, not for any particular reason, other than the fact that it is so beautiful here, all times of the day, all times of the year, but especially the morning. I guess I just want to share that with you a little bit. I don't have any creepy stories to tell. I mean, we may or may not see some weird things out here. You never know. I'd kind of like to see that black cat I saw a couple weeks ago that I'm not so sure is domestic. So I'm going to keep the phone with me. Just show you a little bit of what it looks like around here. I've already seen a bunch of deer, a couple different places, but let's go take this regulator out and get started from there. Show you a couple other things. Give you an update on Dearly and Daniel too in the Philippines. Dearly's been having a hard time uploading videos because she's out in what they call the provinces, which is what we would call out in the country. And the internet connection is just very terrible. So if you want to see how beautiful this place is in the mornings, stick around. If you're here for, well, I was going to say if you're here for Bigfoot Sasquatch, who knows? You never know when him, her, it, or they may or may not appear. So stick around for that too. All right, I should have come out here about an hour ago. This would have been a little bit safer. I mean, I don't think they're not going to sting me. They know who I am. Honeybees actually recognize their keepers mostly by smell, but it is believed that some of them can actually recognize their keepers by face. Now, here's what we got going on. This entrance regulator here, it's just like a piece of wood I'm going to pull out of there entirely. When you first get your nuke and the colony isn't that big, you actually have it flipped sideways to where this is their entrance. We waited about a month to where they could reproduce enough to where they would have enough guards. They actually have guards that sit just inside the entrance to the hive who keep out the beetles, the lizards, the snakes, the moles, very small rodents and whatnot. But as the colony increases in size, the opening is simply too small for them to come and go as they need to. I put a video on the story. Only those of you who have iPhones can see the stories. They're like little 10-second clips. But it looked like they were swarming, like there was a swarm building around the queen to leave and find a new home because there's just so many honeybees all over the hive they couldn't get in. So we're going to take this regulator out. Should be able to just, I don't want to stick my finger like right in there. Might have to put the camera down. Hold on. Made it stick together. There we go. Here we go. Come on, girls. Oops, don't want to crush any of them. There you go. Now, they're going to be able to come and go a lot easier, get their work done more efficiently. So I'm going to go ahead and do something else while we're here. Here's the hive that we put our nuke in about 2 months ago. And they have reproduced so much, they're starting to run out of space. We put this box here. We didn't know how it worked. We thought maybe if they got too many bees in here and they produced a new queen, maybe part of the colony would move over here. But the bee folks that we bought our nuke from informed us that bees will not continue to build a colony by going to a neighboring box beside it. You've got to stack the boxes and they'll continue to build the colony up. So what I'm going to do here, and I don't have my bee equipment on because I really don't care. These girls are so sweet. I think you don't see it in the videos, but there's times I'll come out here during the day, either in the mornings or the evenings before it's hot or after it's hot, and just kind of hang out here and watch the bees. It's really mesmerizing. It's kind of like meditative. So I know this colony has really built itself up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and very gingerly remove the lid from this box. I'm going to take this box over here, which is empty. I've checked it. I've seen them going in and out, but no, they're not colonizing in there. And I'm going to go ahead and add this box, which has 10 honey trays in here, so that they can continue to build the colony up. So you're going to get to see the inside of a working honeybee colony here. Oh, look at that. Oh yeah, it's full. You've got the honeycomb is coming out there. Look at this. They definitely need more space. They're building comb and they're working on top of the lid. So, good idea. Okay, so this video was supposed to start out as a morning walk around the homestead. Looks like it's morning bee maintenance. This nuke's been in here. We put 5 trays when we got our nuke. 5 were empty. So let's see how it's doing now. And again, a lot of people are like, oh, I would never have bees. They sting the crap out of you. Notice I'm not even wearing my equipment and I'm not smoking them. Of course, that hive tool is a big help. It helps you pry this apart. All right. So I went inside and got my hive tool so I can pry this top off, and my bee brush. And as you can tell, I ditched the flannel, pajama pants, and a hoodie. Once that sun comes up above that horizon in Virginia, June, July, August, September, it's already hot. So should have done this an hour ago, but look at this. It's the first time I've noticed this on my bee brush. It says Man Lake Limited. Boy, they must have seen me coming, because as you know, I'm a man. My last name's Lake, and most folks would agree that I'm quite limited in most areas. Man Lake Limited. What's the irony in that? Wow. All right, girls, we're going to take this top off and give you more space, give you more room to work, okay? Whoops. Oh, you're okay, girls. Don't worry. I'm not going to hurt you. I'm trying to help you here. Keep that in mind when you decide to bing me with your butts. I left my my gear in there, like my net, my face shield, my gloves, because I don't care. I don't care. These girls ain't going to sting me, are you, girls? Wow, look at that. Oh, my heavens. Whoops. Look at that. Dripping honey and bees everywhere. Look at that. All right. We don't want to have them exposed any more than we need to, because it's all about stress. You don't want to get stung. Don't put your bees through any unnecessary duress. It's like that with most animals and most people. Just don't go around pissing people off and you'll be okay. All right, let's see here. Let's go like this. Give them another layer. Look at that. We just doubled the size of their home. We're going to put the original back on because they're building on there. They got some honeycomb on there and they feels familiar. And we're even going to use the same lid. So everything is pretty much same. Look at that. It's beautiful. Let's get this lid. Let's put this back on. Look at that, voila. Voila, we just doubled their living space. It looks too delicious, I gotta try it. Oh my God. That's the first time I've tasted honey from these bees. That is the most delicious honey I've ever tasted in my life. And I eat honey on a regular basis, local honey made within 50 miles of here because that helps reduce your allergies. I eat it on my oatmeal, my cereal. I don't eat sugar. I put stevia in my coffee. That is, oh my gosh, I gotta get some more. Hold on. Look at that. Look at that. Oh my goodness. So I can do all this without getting stung by a single bee, but then I get a gnat in my eye. Look at that. Oh my gosh. Wow, just that little taste of nectar of the gods makes this all worth it. All right, I'll come clear this up later. Let's get out of here. These gnats are coming for me. But before we leave, here's what their beautiful home looks from the front now. This bottom, as you saw when the lid was off, is completely packed, and now they get this whole upper area to work with. They've got a much larger entrance so they can come and go more freely. And look at that. They like that honey too. They're licking up that honey that dropped when we had that lid off. They're not stupid. Huh? They're not limited. I don't know if these will amount to much, but we got quite a few Asian pears on our pear trees down here in the fruit orchard. The deer have been coming through here and pruning my trees for me, as you can see. I've got some deer repellent. Should have been here Friday, but it'll get here. And, you know, I'm not too concerned. Look, these trees are so big now, they're tall enough. This is a plum tree, an American plum tree. It's about 7.5 feet tall. You know, they're getting the low-hanging leaves. They're just pruning it for me. They're not going to kill it. In years past, that they would have. Look at these pears. Nice. This one's still caged up. So this is a peach tree. Look at all these peaches. Everywhere. There's peaches. 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 We're not going to be able to eat all these peaches. There's enough for me and enough for the deer. But I'm not sweating that too much, them deer pruning those trees, because it's mostly does. I've got some fawns laying in the grass. Look at this. Look at all these fish. Look at this. Those are bluegill, mostly. There's some rock bass in there. They're down here hanging out by the spillway, trying to get some water flow. We've got rain coming. And so they're going to get a lot of, the pond will get oxygenated. Look at this, banana trees. I saw Dearly made a video a couple days ago showing banana trees, and everybody's like, you should make your husband plant banana trees for you. Well, guess what? Dearly's husband planted for her last year. And they do come back. That one, this one, there was one here that didn't come back, but we had an extra. But we planted 4 of them came back. Some people think you can't grow banana trees in Virginia. You actually can. Now, they don't produce fruit because they need an entire 12-month calendar year to be able to do that. They only get about 9 months in their growing season here, so they do not produce bananas. But they do come back. We've got the strand that came from Latin America. Bought them here locally off of a wonderful family from Ecuador. And they told us they'd come back. That one didn't. To be honest, the one we put there did not, and so I had to transfer that one. But this one, we planted this one here last year, and it absolutely did come back. And it's doing great. By the end of the summer, it'll probably be 10 or 12 feet tall right here at the end of the pond. It's going to look really nice. So it's been suggested that we plant lilac bushes. That's exactly what that is. That, and that are hydrangea. That is an old walnut stump. We figured a good way to get rid of it is to hide it. So here, maybe by next year. We planted these last year, but we didn't get the fence up. I'm telling you, there is an ongoing battle with the deer around here. There's just too many deer. So if you're not willing to put up a guard like this, then you're just wasting your time and your money planting any trees or bushes. So this year they've been doing really great. Here in a few years, just like our fruit orchard, we'll be able to take the fence down and it'll be super, super beautiful. It's our pumpkin patch. Came out here yesterday evening and weed-eated in there. Got a little bit of clutter in there I need to clear out. All in good time. There's always something to do here. I never run out of things to do here. I haven't weeded my asparagus yet, but look at this. They've all come up. We planted 10 root pods. They're all up. Some potatoes and onions. And of course the weeds and the tree. I tell you, I about got that sucker licked. I got the hard part done, the tops, the limbs, the boughs. Just need to get out here and vroom, vroom, vroom with the chainsaw to get the rest. We'll walk up through the meadow here, head up towards the campground, and get a view of everything from up above the high point. Look at these. These poplar trees back here are about 8 feet tall now. Remember, all this when we bought this place 5 years ago was a hay field. Everything was cut down to ground level. There's so much life up here now. For the last 2 years at least, we've had indigo buntings nesting up here. They're like a metallic green bird. Beautiful. Look at this. There's a cherry tree that's about 12 feet high with a 10-foot high poplar behind it. Before everything turned green again this spring and sprouted out, this was one big giant briar patch. I came up here with a shovel and cut them all out so these trees would not be tamped down by the briars. They've almost doubled in height. So we're reforesting this part, as those of you who followed the channel for a long time know. Got 10 feet high poplars, you know. So all this stuff we started doing when we first got this place. You know, it's like we didn't have a lot of people telling us, oh, shouldn't do that, that won't work, blah, blah, blah. But you always have those negative Nellies. I don't want to say Debbie Downer, because we have a lot of wonderful women who follow our channel named Debbie. And they're some of the most positive people, at least in the comment section there are. Pessimists, let's call them pessimists. Oh, you shouldn't plant all those trees, the deer will just destroy them. Well, no, I have to put up guards. Well, that's a lot of work. Well, do it. My point is, I'm not going to belabor, you know, and give a lecture to lazy pessimists again. What I've found is when you're dealing with landscaping, when you're dealing with long-living plants like trees, you got to have vision. You can't just look at it from the point of this year or this month, or like, okay, if I plant this tree today, within the next week the deer are going to come destroy it before it even gets tall enough to have a chance to outgrow the deer. Now you got to say, okay, when I plant this 3 foot high, you know, apple tree today. Oh, there's an apple. Look at that. These were the first trees we planted. We planted these apple trees the first weekend we lived here. You got to say, okay, I see this tree as it's going to be 15 years from now. 20 feet tall, producing so much fruit we can't eat it. What can I do today to get it there at some point in the future? Well, you put a tree guard around it. You put some chicken wire around it. Once it grows big enough, tall enough to get the tree guard off, you know, so you don't have to protect the leaves and stuff because the deer can't reach them. Got to protect the trunks, of course, in the fall from the bucks when they go in rut and they want to scratch up everything with their antlers to make it look like there's something they're not, you know. And then you just go from there. Yeah, of course it takes... What was I saying about never knowing when him or it or they might show up? I mean, I'm almost 50, and I've never run across anything in my life, any sort of endeavor, any sort of hobby, any sort of interest that doesn't require effort, time, and thought if it's worth doing or achieving or having. But I mean, you people know this. Everybody watching these videos, you know this. That's why you're here. You're like-minded. It is already hot. Yeah, so anyway, told you I'd give you an update on Dearly and Daniel in the Philippines. They're doing great. I'm talking to them every day, twice a day. But even with that, with FaceTiming, the connection's kind of weak because they're out in the provinces where Dearly grew up, and that's where we lived for 2 years. You've been watching, her channel's called Life with Dearly. It shows how, like, I think she's gone live a couple times in the mornings because they're able to go live, but she's having a hard time with uploads. It just takes too much bandwidth. And in the mornings when she's been going live, you notice they're going up to the mountain to get water just to wash laundry and dishes. They have to take like trash cans and buckets and basins get in the tricycle, and which is a motorcycle with like a sidecar on it or whatever, and go a couple miles up a mountain just to get water, just to do laundry and clean dishes and stuff. You know, I've talked in these videos about how that was our life for 2 years. Go watch her Life with Dearly, and you could see her doing that now. But it's temporary. She's on vacation. She's only going to be there for a couple of weeks, and she knows it. She's having fun. It's nostalgic. I'll tell you, when you're doing it not by choice but by necessity, it's a different world. That's another reason we put the work in here, and why we enjoy it, and why we love it, and why we're passionate. Like, you know, we finally got the bees this year to pollinate all those fruit trees and the pumpkins and the gardens. When you live like that, like we lived over there, and like so many people are still living like that, you just, this vast open space we have, I mean, our field, our property is bigger than the neighborhood Dearly and myself as a child grew up in. And, man, you better believe we're just going to get out here and do as much stuff as we can in it. And you look and you see nothing but green. And when you see other living creatures, you see deer and fish and bees and birds and rabbits and sometimes bears. We've seen turkeys roosting in this big oak tree here right beside me. But you don't see people upon people upon people upon people. And so we have an appreciation for this that I think maybe some folks who've had it in their lifetime, their whole lives, and never saw how the other 80% of the world lived, and never lived among the other 80% of the world's population, can really appreciate. So that's why, man, I'm out here in the winter drinking my coffee, walking around. If it's 30 degrees, I'll just bundle up and come out and do it. I just love seeing it, love being out here. Here's an update on the book. Yes, the one that's going to make people's heads explode. We are not only in the final lap of this thing, if you're viewing it as a 4 mile or a 4-lap, 1 mile race, we got 200 meters to go. That's why, you know, I haven't been out here telling a bunch of other stories or goofing off in the woods too much, looking for him, her, it, or they. I've been writing 6 to 8 hours a day, writing, rewriting, editing, proofreading, and because we're in that final stretch. A couple nights ago, I went to bed at 11, exhausted, woke up at 1 o'clock in the morning wide awake because I just thought of a part I'd left out in a particular scene, and booted up the laptop and was writing until about 2:30 in the morning. That's just how it goes when you're in a final stretch. So we're in the final stretch, and I wouldn't be surprised if we're within a week of just seeing this thing go to print, because by the time I've gone through all my drafts, all my proofreading, all my editing, and I send it to my editor, because I go through 5 drafts, there's little for him to do other than pretty much just do a quick proofread and then just tell me how great it is, which he's warned me. He says, you know, Crazy Lake, a lot of people's heads are going to explode when they read this book. They're just going to, like, spontaneous combustion. And I was in a dither there. I didn't know if I should finish it or not. I made a video about that a couple days ago, but a lot of folks said just finish it, and so I'm pushing on with it. You know, the way he worded it, he said technically it won't be your fault that people's heads explode when they read this book, because, you know, you didn't make them write it, or you didn't make them read it. But technically it will be your fault because you did write it. And so it's like 6 of one, half a dozen of another. But whatever. I got to get back in there and finish it up. We're at the 200 meter mark. It's almost time to round that turn, come into the home stretch, and that last 50 meters, get up on our toes. Any former track stars out there, you know exactly what I'm talking about. We'll rest once we run through the tape. Not to the tape, but through it, brah. Dive across that line. That's what we're going to do. So, we're in a beautiful American goldfinch. There's a bunch of thistle in this lower portion of the meadow here. And in Indian summer, you'll see thousands of these beautiful little yellow birds called American goldfinches just flying, look like waves crashing on a beach. Little golden yellow birds eating that thistle. That big sourwood patch right up there you're seeing, that's where the indigo buntings, that's where they nest in there. You'd be sitting up there and they just come over and just beautiful. Google that, indigo bunting. They're like metallic blue, metallic green, beautiful bird. See you for more next time from here at Homesteading Off the Grid and whatever the hell this channel's about.